모닝.
오늘은 스텔란보시 가는 건데 스텔란보시가 여기서 1시간 정도 걸리니까 워터프론트 가서 덕이라고 하는 그 수륙 양용 버스 한번 타고 1시간 정도 걸린다고 하니까 한 12시쯤 여기서 출발하는 거야, 스텔란보시로.
네.
오늘도 아프리카 탐험은 시작됩니다. 워터프론트 덕 수륙 양용차, 수륙 양용 버스를 타러 나왔어요. 이게 이제 물에 딱 들어가면 그 스크루가 돌아가거든. 그 스크루 힘으로 들어가는 거야. 그러니까 이게 물이 새 들어가면 안 되지. 들어가면 이렇게 해서 이거 봐봐. 완전히 딱 박혀 있잖아. 물 못 들어가게. 물 들어가면 이제 가라앉는 거 큰일 나.
이 차가 버스인가? 뒤에 버스인가?
네, very good. 이게 이게 한 대밖에 없어, 여기. 저분이 사장님이 보고 와서 야, 남아공에도 이거 해야 되겠다. 이거 허가내는데 10년이 넘었대. 운전기사가 배도 운전할 줄 알아야 되거든. 나 벨라. 벨라가 아까 그 사장님 딸 이름이야.
보통 그 배는 선주의 딸들이 저거 하잖아, 커팅 하잖아.
저 위에는 수륙 혹시나 사고 날까봐 조끼들이 있고. 케이프타운 워터프런트에서 제일 비싼 호텔, 사일로 호텔.
좋아 보이네.
평균 하룻밤에 200만 원. 이게 원래는 그 파우더, 그러니까 밀가루 공장, 재분소. 저기가 테이블 마운틴이네. 완전 테이블 마운틴이 거의 뭐 신적인 존재랑 마찬가지네.
Welcome to the video. I'm only your ticket holder, ticket conductor. In a few seconds, your host will be joining you guys. So hand tight, tight. Hey! How's everyone doing? Let's get the show on the road. How was my conductor, the guy with the tickets? Was he good? Good. Otherwise, he's fired. All right, now let's get the show on the road and begin with my introduction. My name is Ivan Andre, and I will be your conductor. Behind me we have Captain, the beautiful Bella. Now Bella is 11.5 meters long, 2.5 meters wide, and gentlemen, you know you should never comment on a woman's weight, but Bella is a whopping 12.2 tons of a whole lot of women. And that's the way, I like it, It's a little bit of housekeeping. And when you ride in a 12.2 ton vessel quite like Bella, we draw more attention than we would like. And we like to do something we call the quack attack here on the Duck. So when people start looking at us too long or stare, we ask them a very simple, what does the Duck say? Quack, quack, quack! Only a loud and proud quack, quack, kids. Because I see the adults are a bit shy, so let's show them how it's done by telling you the story of the cave. And the story of the cave cannot be told without mentioning. Now, the Cape is no stranger to its visitors, and in 1488, the Cape welcomed its first band of visitors, and that would have been Bartholomew Diaz in 1488. And at that time, the Cape had a reputation. The Cape was in fact known as the Cape of Storms, folks. Very scary place. And in fact, right after Bartholomew Diaz had successfully made a charter from the west, stopping in, the company was spearheading the spice trade and essentially all trade at the time, and was in fact, in this day and age, was actually seen as being worth at 7.9 trillion US dollars. But that didn't last very long because the English came around in 1795 and took control of the Cape from the Dutch. But a little bit about more of that in a second or two. Let's keep this conversation light-hearted and family-orientated. So to your right-hand side, guys, we have the Two Oceans Aquarium, built in 1995. It has been around here for over 30 years, and since opening its doors has welcomed over 9 million people. In my opinion, it's a bona fide hotel for fish, but if you are a pessimist, maybe a prison will do. Now, the Two Oceans Aquarium doesn't only operate as a hotel in life that has always called the V&A its home. Now, back to the story at hand. The English had come, taken control of the Cape from the Dutch, and essentially started rapidly developing this here waterfront, and started erecting a lot of the structures that I will be mentioning today that have taken on new leases on life from its previous life before. Now, in the rapid development of the Victorian Alfred waterfront, it did hit a small. You will see there are still remnants of the original function it had back in 1860. So the footrests where you put your feet inside there are actually repurposed train tracks, and the beams that stand inside there are still from its original structure. Now, I tend to take my drinking a bit too far, and a panado and a beer, a panado and a greasy burger cannot remedy. So for has welcomed many doctors, sailors, nurses, and prisoners to their doors. Now folks, over to your right hand side we have the Victoria Wharf, a big loved local destination filled with boutique stores and bespoke locations to eat. For most men, I think it's easy as said that we enjoy a cold beverages, but ladies, I think you'll agree, a Gucci bag does so much more. Over to your left, guys, we have the Cape Wheel. It was built in 2010 and essentially was only supposed to be here for the FIFA World Cup. Quack, quack!
Quack, quack.
Now, it was only supposed to be here for the FIFA World Cup, but you know, us South Africans, we believe that anything the English can do, we can do better. And if you don't believe me, just watch a game of rugby. Over to your right-hand side, guys, we have the beautiful Atlantic seaboard pensioners with its presence. Over in the far distance is Robben Island, where our first democratically elected president, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, served 18 years of his 27-year prison sentence. Over to your right, guys, we have Table Mountain. Only a few people caught that. Thank you for being so hyper alert to the conversation. That is in fact not Table Mountain, but actually rubble caused by the repairs happening at the Arenas Farmers Market. But the reason why I pointed out that little rubble there is because over that rubble actually lays Granger Bay. Now the story of Granger Bay is that a retired captain, naval captain by the name of Robert Granger, essentially was peering over his harbour, and so a couple of sailors capsized, and without a moment's thought he got into his little boat and raced to their rescue and saved all 9 of those sailors. And ever since that day, that was known as Granger Bay. Monaco is only guys, let's give it a quack quack. What does the duck say? Quack quack quack! In this area alone. But of course, guys, you did not come here for a political rally. This is not a land political rally. So in the words of my favorite Spotify philosopher, Rihanna, ladies, this is what you came for. Lightning strikes every time it goes. And of course, in case there is any fires, we have a fire extinguisher on our left and another one on our right, and a bucket of sand to put out any sparks of excitement. Above your heads, guys, we have life jackets that I will show you how to put on the moment we get into the water. Behind you there are 2 life rings in case any sibling or spousal disputes arise and someone goes for an unplanned swim. and a fully kitted first aid bag for any minor scratches, anus, or poo-poos. Alright folks, and by law,
진수하는 건
all children under the age of 12 must wear a life jacket. So I will come around in just a few seconds and give you guys your life jackets. Alright, sit back.
마침내 버스가 배로 운전하고 있습니다. 라이프 자켓을 하나씩 가고 있습니다. 마침내 진수하고 있습니다. 와우. 버스가 배로 변하는 순간, 와우. 오, 예. 고기 봐. 물고기 때. 야.
Welcome to the marina, guys. Part of Cape Town's prime real estate. So to your left and your right, you will see there are boats. Any one of these boats can be anything between 15 million rand or 18 million rand. Any one of these single parking bays will set you back 26,000 rand a month to 58,000 rand a month. The apartments that you see here will set you no less than 24 million rand. But don't worry, you guys got this for far, far friendliest Cape Town's friendliest pirates. Alright, we got some crackers. They want something to crack our guys. What does the duck say? See, we're famous, guys. Got the paparazzi all around. Now here from here, guys, you can see the Victoria Walls, waterfront view, brilliant, stunning. A great place to also grab a bite. I like going to that yellow place on the boat. So over here, if you'll see, there's beautiful places to eat. I like to go to my favorite one, Mick Cafe. I honestly believe that if she likes me after that, then I know she's not only good for my pocket, but also for my nervous system. Now over here, right next to it, we have P4 on the right-hand side. P4 is a beloved location for many Cape Town locals. It was established in 1990, and since opening its doors, has done some nice renovations. At the bottom, they've still maintained the original rustic pub-style feel. At the top, however, they have done some renovations that elevated the experience. However, I cannot guarantee you that you won't get a one-third of the portion of food for 3 times the price. But what wouldn't you do for that significant other that you fancy? Now, right across to that, we have here at the Life Track Cafe. It is in a green, minty color with the white trimmings. Now, one thing about here is that it was rumored to be Queen Victoria's private tea room. It's rumored to be Queen Victoria's private tea room. But can anyone guess how many times Queen Victoria came here to have tea? How many times? Really, we have a winner right here. Me and you are definitely sharing a drink after this. Essentially, no, she never came here, but close enough. Close enough. Queen Victoria never came here because, interestingly enough, this building was only built in 1902. And in 1861, something actually tragic happened in the life of Queen Victoria, which was the passing of her husband, the late Duke, the Prince Duke Albert. And essentially, she never left her home and always wore black up until her death in 1901. But the interesting facts about the Life Grand Cafe is that this is where Cape Town had its first landline and its first postal system operational in 1902. Now, across from that is the African Trading Port. The African Trading Port is actually the Harbour Master's second residence. And earlier on,
이게 라이언킹에 나온 노래야.
그 라이온킹에 나온 언더가 나도
라이언 스위트 말.
Alright guys, so just before we do leave, I just want to share a little bit of information and tell you the story about
버스가 됐어 이제.
of design in Cape Town and a very generous investor. Now, those pillar windows that you see right there, they did not spare any expense because it comprises of 56 individual pieces of glass. It stands 1.5 meters in height and protrudes outwards by a meter. And one of those windows will not cost you 10,000 rand. It will cost you 50,000 rand. If you thought about $500,000, you're still not close. Because folks, one of those pillow windows can set you back a whopping 1.5 million rand. Ironically, they're called pillow windows, but after I found out about that, I had no sleep. I should have been a glassmith. But folks, it is with a joyous heart, but a heavy one too, that I have to bid you adieu. Guys, give us